Expect the best used car deals guaranteed. Visit arnoldclark.com.
Welcome to Peter and Roughie's football show. It is Wednesday and me and the big man are here. How it all started out 7 years ago, Roughie. Just me and you looking at each other and thinking, are we going to last the pace?
Yeah, that was the case. I have to say that this studio is 100 times better than when we started.
Yep, absolutely. It is indeed. You couldn't swing a cat. And every time you laughed, Roughie, I seem to remember that the whole studio moved.
Yeah, I think that was an eye-opener for everybody who watched and wondered why it moved. It was because it was so close to us.
Yep, absolutely. Here's what we're going to be talking about tonight. So the countdown to the Scottish Cup final continues on the football show. Looking forward to Celtic against Hearts on Sunday. The implications are there for all to see. Celtic chasing a treble. It will be a treble if they can win the Scottish Cup. Hearts looking to win the silverware for the first time since 2012 when they managed that 5-1 thumping of Hibernian. But this one is a completely different prospect, and all the more so now because Celtic look as if they're getting back to full strength. Kieran Tierney says he's fit for the final, but not for the two Scotland games.
No, that's a big shout for the player as far as Celtic's concerned. He's a massive player, particularly at Hampden. You know, he bombs up and down that park for fun and be a good addition. And it'll be interesting to see. I think team selection is going to be really important at the weekend.
Yeah, he's been training for a couple of days and he's in a positive frame of mind, Kieran Tierney.
I've been training the last 2 days and that's the 2 hard days of training, and I think I've coped quite well with that, so it's positive going into the game. I would love to obviously go away with Scotland, but unfortunately the operation's booked for a few days after the cup final, so that would rule me out. Since before Christmas probably, I first felt it, and then I kind of carried on. I got a wee break after Christmas, then I came back and it didn't make too much difference. I played maybe 6 games in a row, like Hearts, Motherwell and that. When the new gaffer came in, I played a few. And of course, since near the last few weeks, I've just been kind of in and out whenever I'm available to play.
Yeah, he's been trying to obviously wrap him in cotton wool, to be perfectly honest with you. Key games here and there, but it's been a recurring problem for him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and they're going to get it sorted out. I do believe it's a double hernia operation. I don't know what that means, but certainly in the modern day technology, it seems to be a very, very quick recovery, something like 2 to 3 weeks. So they're going to get him in as quick as possible, and hopefully his recovery is the case, so they'll want him back for the European Games.
Yeah, absolutely. Fortunately, I think it's fair to say, Roughie, Steve Clarke will have cover in that area anyway. I'm hoping Andy Robertson wins the Champions League and then onwards to Scotland.
Yeah, that's just like for like. I don't think that's a position he'll be particularly worried about. Maybe centre-halves, as we talk about on numerous occasions, but striker for me, I'm hoping Stevie Clarke can identify the striker that's going to score the goals that take the pressure out of everybody else.
Eamon Brophy?
Yeah, that's a big shout. I don't think it's too much for me to go for club football right into international football, particularly with the 2 games we've coming up. I think it's got to be somebody tried and trusted at a higher level. I'm not saying he won't come into the Scotland squad. He's had a fantastic season, but for me, it has to be a bigger player than that.
Yeah, okay, I can't think of one, Roughie. Don't ask me to think of one. I don't think you can think of one unless they're going to go back to Stephen Fletcher. We're going to talk more about Scotland in a moment. We'll hear more from Steve Clarke. Just on the Kieran Tierney front on this one, he's back. I think Herring back for Hearts is crucial, although I can't stop harping on about no Stevie Maysmith, because that for me puts the tin lid on it, because I don't think there's a plan A and a plan B for Hearts now. I think with what they have available to them, I think it's just the simple plan is keep it very tight, play it 4-5-1, and then launch it, and everybody gets around Dick Piezu.
Yeah, I think it'll be the exact same as the English Cup final we saw at the weekend with Watford, sitting in, not coming out very much, making it very, very difficult to get through them. Tight packed unit, and then trying to hit them on the break. The big man up front will cause problems if you can find them. But for me, you know, it's Celtic that call all the shots in this one.
Yeah, I'll tell you one thing though, Roughie. That's not me dismissing them out of hand. I just think the greatest strengths for Celtic are the red hot favourites. One of the players that I think can do them damage though is Jake Mulroney. I mean, if anybody was looking at him this season, every time I've watched him, he's got a trick, he's got a bit of pace, and can cause problems down the left flank.
It's the pace for me. You know, we played against Hearts in the Cup, caused us all sorts of problems with his pace. And his trickery, as you said there, and he can score goals as well. So he'll be like some of the guys in the midfield who really have to step up to it. But he's your outlet. If you can get it to him, and he's going to go down there and cause problems. Yeah,
and when you follow social media, I'm not on it relentlessly, Roughie. Are you an avid social media fan?
Not at all.
No, just the odd thing here and there. You start to see photographs of players saying thank you very much to the fans, you know, and then there's the big farewell party. I spotted Christian Gamboa's. Dedrick Boyata will be on his way as well. You know, there's all sorts of suggestions of a clear out at Celtic and who the new manager is going to be when he comes in. I still think it would be a cold-hearted board not to give Lenny the job if he delivers the Scottish Cup. Whether he thinks he's going to get it or not is another matter, but reports at the moment in the media across Europe, certainly coming from Italy and Spain, was that Rafa Benitez will stay at Newcastle.
Yeah, I mean, it's all speculation, you know, and I'm sure the supporters want to define sooner rather than later. I've just got a funny feeling. I fall into your camp with Neil Lennon, you know, if he wins the Cup and the treble. For me, the Celtic fans got Neil Lennon the job in the first place. And I think their reaction at the end of this season to whatever happens will get him it again. You know, we keep hearing rumours that, some of the fans don't think he can take the team forward. But I think if there's a show of favour in Neil Lennon after these games, and I think that the board have got a mighty decision to make unless they've got a massive manager lined up that the fans are going to buy into.
Yeah, I mean, the strange thing about it, I feel sorry for Neil Lennon. I've said it time and time again, on the basis that he couldn't tinker with that Celtic side. They will go out and play a specific way on Saturday, and that specific way has that real vein of the coaching that came from Brendan Rodgers. I mean, if you ask Neil, you can't tinker with it. If he tinkered with that side dramatically when he came in, then you would have a Celtic side that, had they lost the league, suddenly people would be saying, what are you doing tinkering with it? He's had to try and keep that well-oiled machine going, albeit, may I add, in the third season, a lot of Celtic fans were completely disillusioned with Brendan Rodgers' team.
Yeah, I think when Brendan Rodgers left, I think Neil Lennon had a big job to do. They were on the wane. You know, I don't think they're the team they were the year before. Certain players had lost form, injury, that kind of thing. So all credit to Neil, but I would judge Neil Lennon on the first time he was there, his European results that he had at Parkhead, you know, which were pretty impressive for me, and the players he brought to the club.
Yep, okay. The big news, Kieran Tierney fit for the Cup final, and of course Kieran Tierney hopes after the two Scotland games, which he will miss out on, he'll be looking forward to some qualifiers again for Scotland. He's well happy with Steve Clarke as the manager.
I think it's very positive. The positivity surrounding Steve Clarke and what he's done at Kilmarnock is amazing for the whole country, and for him to be the national team manager is just only a good thing. So what he's done, as I said, is incredible. So hopefully it can happen with the national team as well. We can take steps forward and put up more of a fight. Yeah, that's what you're hoping. You're hoping as a national team, you're harder to beat. You can score more goals. You can keep more clean sheets, and I think that's what we're looking to do. And I think it's a great appointment to do that.
Yeah, Roughie, I get a general feeling of real enthusiasm from everyone around Steve Clarke's appointment. After we give the quiz question out, we'll hear more from Steve Clarke on what he hopes for Scotland over the next few months and beyond.
Yeah, I think all the players are positive because they've saw what he's done with Kilmarnock and the experience that he's had down in England. Let's forget, he was at Liverpool with Kenny. So he's learnt a lot through the years, and I'm sure his experience will take it on to the Scotland team.
Yeah, Liverpool, Chelsea and Newcastle as assistant is amazing.
Yeah, you won't get many coaches have got that in their CV and then moving up here and doing, just transforming Kilmarnock from nothing really.
Yeah, absolutely. Got the crowds back at Kilmarnock. Let's hope we can get the Tartan Army back on board. We'll hear from Steve Clarke. We're also going to be discussing another ex-Scotland manager. In fact, in Gordon Strachan, could he be set for a return to Dens Park? Here's the quiz question first. Tough question this week, Roughie. Usually we make it easy, but I think we're forcing people to think a little bit about the question. We'll give you the answer to that on Monday of next week. In fact, we'll put it out over the weekend as well, so that you know whether you've won our final T-shirt of the season. Throughout the summer, incidentally, don't forget we'll have major specials, one-to-ones, lots of things to interest you along the way. Simple as that. Mentioned the fact that we have more from Steve Clarke. Of course, we all want him to succeed. We want to get to major finals. It's hard to believe 1998, you see John Collins scoring that goal against Brazil. You look at the quality of the players we had then. Kevin Gallagher, Gordon Durie, John Collins, Darren Jackson was in there, Colin Henry. It was incredible. But, you know, now, some 22 years on, we're still waiting.
Yeah, and that side that you read out
21
there,
actually, Roughie, I beg your pardon.
Yeah, the side you read out there had a vast amount of experience compared to maybe half of the team just now who are finding their way, but playing at a very, very high level. And I think we're all excited by them. I just think they need to get games, just like club football. You go to international football, the more games they get together, they'll get to know each other better. The more times they go away and they meet up, they'll know each other inside out, and I think that's only good for the team.
Yeah, I mentioned at the start of the programme, Roughie, that you and I have been together 7 years. Prior to that, I would have met you at various functions and interviewed you the odd time when you maybe were involved in a press conference, but didn't really know you apart from the fact that when I was a boy, I'm looking and taking for granted that Alan Rough is the goalkeeper and you guys are qualifying for major tournaments all the time. It was just, I think the younger generation don't realise that we had so many great players. I mean, that must bring back lots of great memories. Yeah,
I think that was just before the Brazil game, and if you got a chance to look up, I think it was the side against New Zealand in the first game. Believe it or not, we actually had 5 European Cup winners. I'll just say that again.
Yeah.
5 European Cup winners in the side. Obviously, I chipped in my League Cup medal, as well. But it was a massive, massive team of experience and quality in that side.
Yeah, it's funny you saying that because I looked at that particular photograph in New Zealand and it wasn't just 5 European Cup winners. There was going to be Cup winners, UEFA Cup finalists and winners as well. You're talking about an entire team, the 11. Obviously, you'd played in the League Cup final, but the rest of them had all European experience or were on the verge the year later of Aberdeen winning the Cup Winners' Cup. It was incredible.
Yeah, you had Stevie Archibald playing for Barcelona. You obviously had Danny in the team, Danny McGrain, best fullback ever.
Well, absolutely. Look at that. Look at that photograph of you and Danny, Roughie. That's great. Yeah. I wonder about John Brownlee's hairdresser, though. I don't think he really paid much attention to what John was doing at the time.
Des Bremner, he's just come out of the Three Musketeers.
And behind John Brownlee, Willie Miller with a full head of hair. Yeah. The only man who's actually looking cool in that is Kenny Dalglish. Yeah, big slips at the back as well.
Always did look cool anyway, so did Sloop. Sloop was always cool as well.
Yeah, John Blackley, what a fantastic player he was and a fantastic person. Of course, taking it for granted we're getting to major tournaments, that's what Steve Clarke wants to do.
We want to make them proud of their country, proud of their team. We want them to come to the matches and get right behind the team like they always do. The numbers have dwindled a little bit, but it's my job to make sure that the team is focused. I only want players who are 100% committed to the national team. I'll certainly be 100% committed. I'll give everything I've got to try and qualify through the group stages. I think that's important to say. We've slipped up in the first game, So we have to make sure that we pick up points later on in the tournament. And the 2 games coming up for us in June are absolutely crucial.
Yeah, with that in mind, Roughie, I think, when he's talking about the slip up and they have to try and redress that, they have to come up with a result then. He's going to have to produce a result that nobody expects.
No, and the unfortunate thing for us is teams like Northern Ireland and Republic Island have been doing it. They've been taking points off Germany and whatever. You never know, there's no guarantee in international football. We all know how good Belgium are, and if you went over there and even got a massive draw out of that, what a lot of lift that would give everybody. But I just still think it's the more games we get before the playoffs next year, the more, everybody gets right behind the team and the players. I think we'll go into these qualifying games with a lot more confidence.
Yeah, are you confident when you look at the group table that we can actually get through? I mean, what's our best hope here? Is it somehow upsetting Russia?
Yeah, Russia's a team that has to be your target. But again, we saw Russia at that big tournament there. They stepped up to the plate. They look pretty impressive. I think they will be. Away from home, we always say they don't travel particularly well. But it's up to us. I think if we could start winning games at home and get the supporters in numbers back into Hampden, I think the players would respond to that. And I really do think we're home advantage. If we could keep winning, make it a stronghold, we might have a chance.
Yeah, absolutely. It would be absolutely fantastic just to get everybody looking forward to a major championship. But of course, it's all about not only the fans, but it's about getting the players on board as well.
So a burning ambition of mine is to take a Scottish national team to a major tournament. And I think I spoke with Andy Robertson this morning just to touch base. And if everybody is enthusiastic and determined as Andy is, we'll have a great chance. And I was saying to Andy about qualifying, it should be the pinnacle of your career as a professional to represent your country at a major tournament. And that is the carrot, that is what is in front of this current group of players. And hopefully we can achieve that.
Yeah, I think getting the enthusiasm back. I mean, you don't need to get enthusiasm from Andy Robertson. He leads by example. But, good to see that he's contacted him as the captain. He'll probably have wished him all the best for the Champions League final and then said, look, you get everybody else as enthusiastic as yourself, and that's the first thing, first and foremost.
Yeah, and the other thing as well is you've got Andy going over there and playing in that competition, and if they win it, he'll be coming back into a Scotland dressing room as a European winner. That itself will give the rest of the players a buzz that they've got somebody of that calibre who's just come off of that magnitude of a game, and it might just rub off some of the other players in the team.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, we're going to talk about a former Scotland manager now in Gordon Strachan, because it looks as if the Dark Blues, Dens Park, the board are looking possibly at Gordon for technical director. I think he's still got a lot to offer in the game. I'm a huge fan. He is a friend. People make mistakes along the way. I think he's a good man, and I think in the footballing world, I wonder if Dundee have got enough to entice him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that'll be the biggest problem will be his business interests outside the game. But any time you speak to him, he talks about Dundee all the time. It was his first love, his first chance at football, senior football. Yeah. He'll have a lot to go with the obviously supporters. He'll want them back to where they were. It'd be interesting if he makes a comment to see what he says, because that might be the road they have to go down. But I think I was at the Dundee dinner the other night there. James McPake is very well liked by the Dundee supporters. So maybe somebody like that, Gordon in the background with James there, it might just be the right fit.
Yeah, it might have been his first love as the playing, Roughie, but he's a big hippie.
Yeah, I know that. But when you see him playing his first games for Dundee and that wee ginger head running about, and you could see that that was his first love as a player.
Yeah, okay, you've dug yourself out there. Dug yourself out. Listen, Jim Goodwin's also a man that's been mentioned, and John Robertson. Incidentally, earlier this afternoon, Inverness Caley Thistle released a statement saying, following speculation and reporting in the media, would like to clarify what transpired. The club confirmed John Robertson was directly approached by Dundee on Saturday evening. Within minutes of his approach, John notified the club and confirmed to our CEO that he had no desire or intention to speak to Dundee about their position. He did not reply nor acknowledge this approach. To be 100% clear, this approach from Dundee was entirely unsolicited, and given it was 24 hours after the semi-final defeat, entirely unwelcome.
Yeah, well, having played against Inverness this season with Partick Thistle, he's very well liked up there. The board like him, the supporters love him, they love what he gives the club. He seems to be an Inverness lad now. He just loves being up there. And I think, no disrespect to Dundee, but I think if John Robertson was to move, it would be to a Premier club.
Yeah,
I think he's got enough in him. He's shown enough in the game as a manager that he could get a reasonably bigger club.
Yeah, well, I'm a big fan of Robbo, and if it was me, I would hang off until the Hearts job became available, because sooner or later, Craig might look and say to himself, OK, I'll go to Director of Football and get my pal in. I think Robbo deserves a second tilt at it without people from Lithuania dictating what happens on and off the pitch. OK, it's all an opinion. You can agree or disagree. Great to chat with Roughie. Tomorrow we're going to be joined by Gordon Smith. Hopefully you can join us then. But from Roughie and myself, thanks for watching.
Expect the best used car deals guaranteed. Visit arnoldclark.com.